consulting engineering. In order to have a building mostly, or even just to have a receptacle put into your house, or technically all of these, even a small move, normally requires a permit. A homeowner can act as that in most cases. This is very wavy, right? There's so many jurisdictions around in which states, so that we're talking in generalities. Usually a homeowner can do this after getting the permit and getting the inspection and the like. But in general, if you're going to build a building, you normally need an architect and an engineer in most of the states, and this would mean the one path is to go to a accredited university for 4 years, and then you in some states you can go ahead and take the test. Some people like to do that because they've been spending time, in a school setting, so they feel a little bit more ready. And then they just need to gain the experience working with a professional engineer for 4 years, and then gets recommendation letters from those that they've worked, and then take the test, passed it, and then they can, others, you can not take the test until, and then in all cases, the paperwork, or in some cases, the paperwork happens afterwards. So it really just depends on the state, the NCEES, who orchestrates the exams, or the EIT, which would be what you would need to get first. I guess I skipped over that part. That's the first thing you need to get, and then you can do those things. But so the order of all those, depending on the states, it varies. But that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is that just by working in most states, again, working alongside an engineer normally for a prolonged period of time. I think it's like in the 10-year range, and because I haven't done this path myself, I just vaguely understand that it's an option. But you become a designer within a state, which normally means necessarily you can be kind of basically a PE, a person of record for a building within a state, if you've been experienced doing that for long enough. And then there's equivalencies of people who have trades experience, and to try and knock some of those number of years off. And most consulting firms, I say most, okay, the person who stamped the drawings could be just a principal of the firm that should be in responsible charge of all aspects of what they are stamping. But it could also be the individual as well. So the things we're creating, though, they're aspects of intellectual property, and within employment agreements with regards to employee and employer, there's this. But then within the agreements between the client and the design team, that what they're designing is for the purposes of what it's being given is to be built, not to be sold as a design that they can then. Instruments of service is another aspect that's intellectual property, and this would be the usually, and it can be, I know that I don't know if, so like feeder schedules, sometimes I encounter individuals that do not like to use those. Those would be on a one line, instead of marking out how many wires and which size and ground and conduit and all of this, just being in a schedule. And then that way, when you have a 100 amp feeder, it needs to change, you just have one spot to change it. I've ran into some that do not like, because you can accidentally use these instruments of service blindly. So designers might just be using them with not realizing how they're applying them, or not caring how they're applying them. It's a worry, but mostly design firms when they need to grow, they need to find a way to be consistent in their delivery, or at least have a starting pace for consistency. So they usually make sense. But that's an example of an instrument of service. So there's all kinds of instruments of service. Marketing material can be an instrument of service. So how they're responding to the RFPs. Engineering ethics is super important. I said it last night. We are in the middle of these items here. The consulting being that we want to help clients and we want to make great solutions, and but make a living and make profits. But the engineering side comes with responsibilities. So the projects always want to go faster. the end dates never change for construction, and the deliverables are, you know, they move our calendars, and they force us to work late and things. So, but at the end of the day, it's people and property. So the standard of care being that if you are in a courtroom, the community of engineering has decided how we will execute projects, and in that training, underneath the care of a professional engineer, as you're leading up to become a PE, or otherwise if you had care to be a person of record, you were exposed to that, the industry and our care. So it's really important that we stand up for those two things, even when the projects want to go faster or would like to make shortcuts. So it's worthy of pausing in this. It's worthy of having this, even though the amount of time we have to talk for all of this is short, because it really isn't until projects are going fast and until things are that you're challenged to make decisions that you might not have made if that wasn't how it went. So look back and ask yourself, what if the project wasn't down the road? What decision would you have made? And that strive to make that decision in the first place. So, and then share that with others. And then there will be mistakes, but just make sure that safety of people and property doesn't go second. Copyright was kind of in this discussion of intellectual property and instruments of service. So I think that's probably enough for this topic. Any questions, or I know there's probably not many questions on that topic, but any just in case. Great. If you are going to, by the way, ask for individuals who are PEs to then provide you references, usually you want to try and make it easier for them, like print the paperwork out for them, get them a stamped envelope and that kind of thing. Nobody said that to me, and